Hello, we are so happy to have you here with the Wonder Years series. And I am so excited that we have Erica Minchella as our guest this week. And because she has done a special, extraordinary feat given everything that she has going on in her life with her law practice. And I'm going to have her tell you a little bit more about her. And she's written a book, and it's called Transforming Troubled Real Estate with Strategic Solutions. And the book talks about foreclosures, short sales, buying troubled properties, and more. But Erica, please introduce yourself to our guest.
Thanks, Pamela. Erica Minchella, real estate attorney, handling transactions and litigation in Illinois, mostly in the Chicago metropolitan area. And this is just delightful to be here with you today. Thank you so much for inviting me.
So can you tell a little bit about how long you've been practicing and what your specialties are? And just talk about that first.
Sure. So I've been practicing since 1981. I was licensed November 5th, 1981. So I have been practicing for 42 years, going on 43. And in my mind, I know that that's actually puts me later than a lot of my peers because I taught high school for a year. I took a year off to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. And then I worked my way through law school, so that took 4 years. So I'm about 3 years behind peers that are the same age. They've been practicing closer to 45, 46 years.
Yes.
I started out, my last job when I was in law school was with a bankruptcy firm. And I practiced in bankruptcy for about 18 years. And then because my kids hit their preteens and needed a part-time chauffeur, I went into real estate because it was much easier to schedule my time with my clients than it was to do it with bankruptcy court. I couldn't tell a bankruptcy judge when to schedule their hearings. I could tell a real estate client when I could schedule their closings. And then I've been doing real estate since 1999. And in 2008, when the recession hit and no one was calling me to do a real estate transaction, I started doing foreclosure defense. I went back to dealing with people who were in trouble, financial trouble. And I started doing foreclosure defense and short sales and everything that's in the book, everything that is needed to help people not fall into the worst financial phase of their life so that they can't crawl back out.
Right. Very good. Very good. Yeah. I know that you have, being a solo practice with your law firm, you have had a lot of challenges this past year. You want to talk about some of those and how you
still want to talk about yesterday? I have a passion for dealing with people who are in trouble. I want to see them in a better situation than they were when they came to me. So regular transactions are fine. I can do them easily. It doesn't matter. But it's the people who are in trouble who I can help out of that trouble that are my real passion in terms of what I do with my practice. And I guess there's a little bit of ego in there in saying that I feel like I'm the one who can get them out. So, part of what's happened is that when I started doing foreclosure work, I realized that there was no bar association that supported me. So I started pulling people out of the courtroom who I knew were defense attorneys and asking them if they wanted to start an association of foreclosure defense attorneys so that we could learn from each other. So that October 2010 is when we sat down to formed that. Somebody was sitting across the table from me, said, "It was your idea. You're president." I have now been president for 13 years. They won't let me out. My responsibilities keep expanding instead of getting spread out over the people who are in the organization. That led me eventually to be on the board of directors for the Illinois Real Estate Lawyers Association. It also got me onto the Illinois State Bar Association Real Estate Section Council, where I was chair of that section council. And I get a lot of teaching engagements because, remember, I said I was a teacher in my first life, and I love teaching lawyers. I love teaching about good practices, business practices. So there are just a lot of things that I'm involved in that I feel is always necessary. And I, Pam, I basically worked 7 days a week for about 10 years until my granddaughter was born. And then I started taking Sunday afternoons off. I get to see her almost every Sunday afternoon. And sometimes it's a matter of she's got a birthday party, so I'm with her younger brother. And it's made my practice a lot harder because I'm putting in 7 days a week, only I'm only doing it in 6 days a week.
Yeah, we keep talking about that, and I was thinking, the goal, we were like a goal of working 3 days a week down the road, but but truly, when as a boomer, people look at you and they look at how long you've been practicing and all of that, and do they ever tell you about retirement or things like
Yeah,
that?
they'll ask me. And my sister, who really encouraged me to go into law, because she's a lawyer, just retired about a year ago. And so people look at her, or she'll look at me and go, "You thinking of retirement?" And it's like, no, I have no interest at all. Don't you see how busy I am? What would I do with all of this stuff? And my husband isn't retired. He's working just as hard as I am. And it's what keeps us going, and I think keeps us young.
Yeah, I love that. And I know that you exercise every day, and you watch how you eat, and you watch your health. So talk about why you feel that that's important at this stage of the game.
Well, you know what? I have a real problem in sitting down with people my age and sharing medical stories, medical advice. I don't want to listen to other people's medical problems, and I don't want anyone talking about mine.
Yeah, yeah,
There's just no reason for it. It's my burden, and I work very hard on not letting it be a burden. It's like, okay, I have this issue. How do I solve this? It's pretty much no different than how I deal with my law practice. I've got a problem. How do I solve it? I've got a medical problem. How do I solve it? How do I get to the right professional or professionals to get to it and move on from there? But I don't want to be talking about sharing medical history with my peers.
correct. So one of the things I've always noticed about you is that you're always on the looking for solutions. You're always looking at exercise. You watch what you eat. You're doing all those things that help, be the longevity. I mean, I see a lot of people that are in their 40s or 50s or even 30s who don't have the energy that you have. And you're just, you astound me every day because of your energy level and how unstoppable you are.
Well, I work from a standing desk, and I think that's pretty critical because it really helps my energy level. Because if I were sitting, I'd fall asleep. I'd just put my hand on my arm on my desk and go to sleep. I just bought a treadmill that fits under my desk so that when I'm not standing here looking at people, I can be on the treadmill and I can, just keep moving during the day. Because you've suggested that I go for a walk every day, and it's like I can't get out of my office. I've got too much work to do. So the treadmill has become the new solution. I'm just going to stand at my desk and work on my treadmill. Just a little bit of a pace to keep going.
Perfect. So now we want to talk about how did you, with everything that's going on, write a book?
Well, I work on Saturdays. I would put aside an hour. I'd get all the other stuff done. I'd put aside an hour and I'd work on the chapter. And the book itself is a labor of love. It's information that I really want people to have in their hands. So it was easy to write. I'm not good at editing myself, but I was able to go back and go, okay, you're not saying this very well. Um, you need to say it a little bit differently. So um, I you kept giving me deadlines. I kept giving myself deadlines, and then I would ignore them and just move on to something else. Just stretch it out. So I was hoping to have it done in July, and instead it got done by the end of the year. And then I had to figure out how to publish it, which
Yes.
was
So
a bit more challenging than writing the book.
absolutely, absolutely. So I'm sure the audience wants to know, in your schedule, how do you write? It's like if there are people out there who would like to, yeah, I'd like to write a book too, but I'm too busy. There's too many things going. I'm working too many hours. You run a very busy law practice, law firm. So what would you tell them about how to fit in writing a book or any other kind of special project that they might have?
You just have to have the discipline to carve out that time, and you got to be writing about something that you care about. You can't. I've tried writing a novel. I had clients with a very unique situation that I wanted to let people know actually existed and be worried about it. But I wanted to do it in the form of a novel, and the clients allowed me to um, uh, write about them, not using their names, of course, but allowed me to write about them.
Right.
And I couldn't do it. I don't have that voice, but telling people how to solve their legal problems is something I do every day. So I just had the discipline carved out some time. And when I couldn't meet deadlines, I didn't beat up on myself. I just acknowledged that I wasn't going to meet that deadline, and I gave myself a new deadline because there wasn't anything that I was trying to prove
Mhm.
by meeting the deadline. It was I want to get this book into the hands of the people who I feel need it. The book is really an opportunity for people to find answers, find solutions in the privacy of their own home, things that they don't want to talk about with other people. I've got so many clients who come to me so late in the process. And if you had this book at an earlier stage in your troubles, you would know to do things sooner. Um, so it it was both passion and discipline. I think those two words define best what it took to get the book written and how it happened, even though I had everything else going on in my life.
Right. Okay. So the last thing we want to talk about here is we're talking about we're calling these last part of our careers our wonder years. So there are a lot of people. A lot of people are saying we're so glad that you're talking about this because I don't know whether I should retire. I really enjoy working. I, I'm feeling guilty because I'm still working, and people are saying I should retire. What would you say to those people?
Well, I can't think of any reason why you should feel guilty that you're working if you're doing something that you enjoy. But one of the things that I've really considered is that it's hard to contain my practice. I try hard not to take on more than I can, but one of the ways of dealing with that is to look at hiring people who aren't ready to retire to help me out. And that's really a stage that I'm working on for my business. Not to grow the business. I don't want it to get any bigger, but to manage what we're working with.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, so we are so happy that you're here, Erica, to share your book. Did you share? Did you share your book? The image of your book. This is her book. You can get it on Amazon.com, and we're going to put that in the link. You know, the link to the book, and also Erica is here on LinkedIn. So if you want to contact her, you can. And again, I'm Pamela Deneuve, and we are really focusing this period of time on the wonder years for boomers and Gen X lawyers who are ready to uh, make either a transition or even a succession plan, but to enjoy this last part of your law practice as your best part. And we're thank you so much for joining us. Thank you again so much, Erica. And we will see everybody soon.